Hey, I eliminated $100,000 of my student loan debt kind of by accident. And if I can help you do the same, I would love to. I'm not guaranteeing it's going to work, but it's kind of a crazy story. I told some other people do it. They tried it. Some have had luck. A lot didn't, but maybe you will defy the odds like I did. I kind of just stumbled into it. Student loans, debt in general, financial insecurity. It's pretty scary. It's like it cripples you. It's like it makes you afraid, and it makes you feel like you can't walk into the future. Like, I made some horrible mistakes, and now how am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to get food? How am I going to afford my house? How am I going to have a family? How am I going to walk into my future? That kind of fear over finances is the worst. And so if I can do something like to even just give you a chance or a percent of a chance to walk into the future with some financial freedom, man, I would love to help you so much. And so, all right, let me just give you a little background before I give you the tips and exactly what happened to me. I'm from a refugee family. They immigrated from Sri Lanka to America, so didn't know a lot of the like financial banking and loan systems. And so when I wanted to go to a private Christian Bible school, the loans were kind of crazy. And I went to school like the early 2000s. Things have gotten even crazier now. And so my family was like, yeah, get the loan, get $100,000 worth of student debt to go become a minister. And spoiler alert, not many pastors make a ton of money. In fact, most aren't as rich as you think, even though we get a lot of flack for being money hungry, rich people. Most youth pastors, talk to them, ask them if they're loaded. They're probably not. Anyway, so my family was like, yeah, this is a great idea. Get a huge loan to become a pastor. And so I did that. I got the loan. In fact, our family wasn't doing the best financially, had some foreclosures in our family. And so we had to get a friend to co-sign on the loan so that I could get this. And so I became BFFs, best friends with Sally Mae. I went to school, my room, my board, my like food, my classes, just put it on the student loan. And so I graduate and I'm like, okay, I don't have to pay this right away. I can defer it a little bit, but that caught up with me. And so I'm making these like minimum payments. I mean, minimum. And then for a couple of years, I just stopped paying them. I was honestly just ignoring the problem. And I was living in fear, and I just thought, like, if I didn't pay attention to this, they won't pay attention to me. And so not a great idea. My credit score went down. It was kind of scary. So anyways, as I grew in a little bit more maturity and I tackled this head on, I started to pay it. My credit score went back up, but I was like, there is no way I'm going to be able to pay this off, because I graduated around the 2008 financial crash. I graduated in 2007. So like getting a job was tough. It was just a tough time for the nation in general. And so that began my journey of maturity in facing this. And honestly, in my prayer life, that's what I was praying for. Lord, help me be free of this debt. Lord, let me overcome this. And so anyways, as I moved to Seattle to church plant, I'd made such a small dent in this. So I'm starting a church in Seattle. I'm financially at least responsible, and I'm not like doing anything stupid, but I was like, how am I ever going to overcome this? And so I just started to call my loan company. It had been Sally Mae, and they sold it to like, I think it was like Great Lakes. And I began to call Great Lakes and say, hey, can we just talk about our loan? I'm not sure how I'm going to pay this off. They're like, we can help you like do the minimum payments. And I was like, great. So I'm doing that for months and months. And then I just keep on talking to them. And then they actually tell me, hey, we're selling your loans to another company. I think it's called Navient. And I said, oh, you're about to sell this. And so I'd learned a little bit about investing, and I just knew the power of compound interest. And if they're just getting minimum payments from me, they're not making that much. So I said, hey, what if we worked out something? And then they said, well, maybe you could just pay off some of the debt in a more of a lump sum style. You won't pay the whole thing off, but that would be better than us just selling this loan off, because we'd have more money and we could reinvest that better than just these minimum payments. So I said, okay, what if I pay off 10% and we call it even? So I have $100,000 in debt. What if I just pay off $10,000 worth and then we call it even? they said, all right, we'll talk to our manager. And I've been talking to these people for like weeks and months. I develop a relationship. I was like, oh yeah, talk to the manager. I'll probably talk to them later. And so anyways, they talked, called me back, and they said, hey, we'll go for it. If you pay $10,000, like right now, we'll eliminate the rest of the $90,000 and you'll be debt free from your student loan. I was like, are you kidding me? I just kind of like accidentally walked into this. Like, this was not a plan. And you got to be like mindful. I had been praying almost daily, Lord, would you help me get rid of the student debt? I don't want to be fearful of callers and collection agencies. I don't want to be worried about my credit score. I would rather invest this money into my future instead of just like paying off my past, but I still want to be a good steward. I want to be a responsible person. I want to like be a person of my word. And so, Lord, if you could give me a way out. I was praying that so often. And here it seems like it was happening. So I paid it off and boom, my loan was suddenly gone. So now I'm thinking, did I get scammed? Because, you know, if you've watched any of my other videos, I've been scammed before. Have I been scammed? Is this going to haunt me? Are there some tax implications that are more than I think is going to happen? And, you know, now almost like 8 years later, 7-8 years later, hasn't been a scam. Hasn't caught up with me. I haven't had to pay those, and my credit score is better than ever. It's great. And so if you're living in fear of your finances or you've made some bad mistakes, I just want to give you 3 quick tips. Number 1, face your fears. You cannot fix what you won't face. It's awkward. It's painful. It's embarrassing. I know the feelings of shame, but you got to address these things. You will not fix what you're unwilling to face. Point number 2, you're not alone in this battle. When you are weak, the Lord can be your strength. Give him your shame. Give him your worst. Cast your cares on him, and he will take care of you. It may not be like miraculous like this all the time. Trust me, there's still things I'm casting on the Lord, and it hasn't gone away overnight. But I'm telling you, when I pray, coincidences happen. When you hand over these things to the Lord, he does show up. Maybe it's not like how we would plan or orchestrate, but he does show up. The Lord does not forsake us. He does not abandon us. And point number 3, ask for help. You know, never take a no from someone who doesn't have the authority to give you a yes. You know, a lot of people would have said no, but I kept on talking to these people at the collections agency, and finally they talked to someone who talked to a manager, and they gave me a yes. And so I could have stopped asking at the first no, and just in general, like the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So go after that something, and I believe that the Lord is in the business of setting people free. And so apply these things, and maybe even try exactly what I did, and maybe it'll work out for you. So if this was helpful, please hit like and subscribe, because I'm trying to build a base on here to gather like-minded people to walk in their calling. And also it's going to help me walk in my calling, because I just got signed by a literary agency. And in order to get me published for this book deal I'm trying to get, they want to see that I have some sort of online platform. So I would love to create a platform to encourage you to walk in your calling as I'm trying to walk in mine. So let me know in the comments if you're going to try something like this, or if you feel like I'm being scammed and you want to warn me, or if you have an idea to get out of debt fast, just like I experienced. All right. God bless you. See you next time.